course, indeed. Several of my colleagues, or at least one of my colleagues, sees Bogshed as being something like the Antichrist, which I never understand. They're a very funny band, I think. That's from a mini LP, tried and tested public speaker, all tracks taken from sessions recorded for this programme, I'm afraid. It's a bit embarrassing, all this, really. Tried and tested public speaker, which you just heard, Champion Love Shoes, Little Grafter, Morning Sir, Fastest Legs, Adventure of Dog, and you'll probably hear most of them over the next week or so. This comes from the Railway Children, a forthcoming single from them, Brighter. FAC 167 when it's in the shops. That's the Railway Children, and Brighter. They now reappear on Rough Trade Records after not a particularly happy time, I get the impression, with one of the major labels. And this is their first release, Job Lot Offer. Some sway, that is, and Job Lot Offer is the title of the thing. 4 different pieces, I suppose, linked in some way, and pretty much the same sort of thing on the other side of that. It's a curious band. and they're about to do a week at the ICA in London. I hope they're about to do it and haven't already done it, because I'm planning to go and have a look at them. This is from Mighty Mighty, the first from their session for us. This is Built Like a Car. Mighty Mighty in session, and that's called Built Like a Car. And this is a record which a lot of people write to me about, and they always say, can you play that record with the bells in it again? And I keep explaining what it actually is. It's Finny Tribe, that's F-I-N-I, Tribe, and it's called The Testimony, and it's on Cathexis Records. And somebody wrote in and told me what Cathexis means, and if I can find the letter, I'll tell you what it was. I'll read the first sentence or so. Is this it here? No, I don't think so. Anyway, I'll find the one, and because it's very heavy-duty stuff indeed. Finny Tribe. Right, that's Finny Tribe on Cathexis Records, and Peter Rayberg writes to me from Redbourne in Hertfordshire and says, amongst other things, cathexis is the process of investing instinctual energy. The id is only cathexes, but the ego and the superego can use the energy at their disposal in either of two ways, for cathexis or anti-cathexis. And, well, he's already lost me, I must confess, and it gets deeper than that, but thank you for the information anyway, Peter. From the Midnight Choir, from a new LP on Nature Records called Worm-Bellied Britain. That can't be right. Anyway, from a new LP, this is Mad to Pique, another one of the things which doesn't seem to make a great deal of sense, but who knows? The Midnight Choir on Nature Records. The LP and my copy of it came from Orbitone Records, and again, thanks to Charlie for sending me that. The Jesus and Mary Chain, Happy Place.
devil, he chased me around the stump, and it just suits me. The devil, he chased me around the stump, and it just suits me. The devil, he chased me around the stump, and I thought he grabbed me at every jump, and it just suits me. Grabbed me by the seat of my pants, and it just suits me. Grabbed me by the seat of my pants, and it just suits me. He grabbed me by the seat of my pants and throwed me over the jailhouse fence, and it just suits me. I whipped the devil and all his crew, and it just suits me. I whipped the devil and all his crew, and it just suits me. I whipped the devil and all his crew, and I whipped the little ones 2 by 2, and it just suits me. St. Peter gave me a job, oh then, it just suits me. St. Peter gave me a job, oh then, and it just suits me. St. Peter gave me a job, oh then, I shaved the whiskers off his skin, it just suits me. Then came Noah with a frying pan, it just suits me. Then came Noah with a frying pan, and it just suits me. Then came Noah with a frying pan, he fed me fish in the golden land, it just suits me. Then came Noah with his wooden ark, and it just suits me. Then came Noah with his wooden ark, and it just suits me. Then came Noah with his wooden ark, and you ought to have seen them hungry sharks, and it just suits me. Jonah swallowed the whale and then it just suits me. Jonah swallowed the whale and then it just suits me. Jonah swallowed the whale and then he crossed the ocean on his fin, and it just suits me. I don't care if I never die, and it just suits me. I don't care if I never die, and it just suits me. I don't care if I never die, I'll eat up hell and drink Jordan dry, and it just suits me.
Low Stokes and his North Georgians from 1930, you probably spotted that already, and that's called It Just Suits Me. It comes from an LP, Work Don't Bother Me, old-time comic songs from North Georgia, and again, I expect Andy's been playing that to death for months and months and months. It's on Rounder Records. Before that, the Jesus and Mary chain, the first from them, which was Happy Place. And I have a card here written a week or so ago from Bill the Milk Monitor saying, get the present Daybury Flexi Stars Dub Sex in for a session immediately. It comes up in tomorrow night's programme, Bill, actually, thanks very much, along with a session from the Janitors. But tonight, it is the turn of Mighty Mighty, yours truly.
station, lonely sharing your desolation. If you like, we could walk in the stable blues on parade. If you're in the mood, we could lick each other's wounds. And I'll stick up for you when the colors run and the night turns blue. We'll still be yours sincerely. Yours truly. And I hope you don't mind if you're short and sweet, and I know you won't mind if you're humbled in defeat. Yours truly. Yours truly. Yours to be. Yours truly. Yours to be. Yours truly. Yours to be. Yours truly. Yours.
That's Mighty Mighty and yours. What became of them? "10,000 Maniacs." I wonder what became of them. I mean, I really like the band a lot. That's from the LP, The Wishing Chair, Can't Ignore the Train. Perhaps they're still working away out there, but I've not heard anything from them for quite a while. An LP which I listened to this morning, which is really good, is the LP by DJ Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince. It's called Rock the House, and it'll be coming out fairly soon from Champion Records. There's one track on there, but it is a problem. It happens all the time. I was talking to somebody about this earlier on this evening. one of those things which, you know, so difficult. It's is it sexist or isn't it, you know? And frankly, I can't make up my mind about it at all. It's a track called Just One of Those Days, and it really is brilliant. I mean, musically, absolutely superb and very, very funny in parts too, but there is one line or a couple of lines in it which you think, well, I don't understand that very much. Anyway, that's not the track I'm going to play now. I'm going to go on moralising internally over that for weeks, and it'll be interesting to see how I resolve the dilemma. But this is called Taking It to the Top, another excellent track.
Fresh prince, and if you got good sense, you'll keep your distance, because my sole intent is to rock and shock the spot and give my all, which is a lot. No, I'm not about to stop, because I'm taking it to the top. A whole lot of people rap, but what good is that? It's the rap that the rapping is way off track. I don't mean to attack you, but I'm cutting no slack to those people that I hear sing meaningless rap. In actuality, I mean in reality, the words that you use are a mere formality. Vocabulary is not what it's about. The point that you're trying to get across is what counts. Cause when a lot of rappers rap, they try to use big words, but that's the most sexist thing I've ever heard of. They think that that's impressive, but when will they learn their lesson? That it's not the words that count, it's the message. They get a lot of big words out of some magazines, and 9 times out of 10 they don't even know what they mean. They stand up on a stage, huffing and puffing, rapping for nearly an hour, but they're not saying nothing really, but a lot of gibberish. And I know that they all wish they had access to fresh rhymes like this. I came to rock and shot and give my all, which is a lot. No, I'm not about to stop, because I'm taking it to the top. Funk power and brilliance and new shows, pizzazz, good looks and charm and personality. You punch it in the calculator and it adds up to me. I know the same goes for the rest of my crew. My DJ Jazzy Jeff and Ready Rock Steve too. The ultimate combination of strength and prestige. My crew holds the key to fun and everything you need to party all night. Yes, it's you we will excite. The time is right, so don't fight it. Suckers, please don't bite it. We came to rock and shock and give our all, which is a lot. No, we're not about to stop, because we're taking it to the top. Brag about him, but when people doubt him, I have to stand up and tell the whole world all about him. United we stand, divided we fall, is the motto of our crew, and it's honored by all of us. We pledge allegiance to the workers you heard, and it enables us always to come out first. We came to rock and shot and give our all, which is a lot. Yo, Jeff, man, why don't you take it to the top? Every time we attempt to rock the house, you got to dance, cause no one is exempt from the rules set forth by us. Of course, you know, stay out our way or behold the brute force of me. Jeff and Ready Rock Steve, we're a trio. Oh, you didn't know? That means that there's 3 of us, one for all and all for one, and we're taking it to the top before we get done. I'm inclined to rhyme, anytime you'll find it ain't a rapper with a rhyme as impressive as mine. I insist on a rise, and I despise to decline. On the day I descend, that's the day I resign. I'm creating my friends and innovating my rap. Why is that? I don't know, I guess I got it like that. My personality is thin beyond the realm of mediocre. My advice for life is if you want something, go for it. Cause there's nothing that's beyond your grasp. Just set your mind to it, work hard, and you can have anything that you want. The sky is the limit. Stop lunching around. Get up and go get it. Cause I came a long way from the past till the day. Now I'm never slowing down. No way. I came to rock and shock and give my all, which is a lot. And no, I'm not about to stop because I'm taking it to the top.
DJ Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince, that's from the LP Rock the House on Champion Records, pretty darn soon, and that's called Take It to the Top. If you were listening to Janice's programme last night, and if you weren't listeners, why weren't you? Then Budgie was in there playing one or two records that they'd brought back from Brazil, one of those things. It's quite nice, actually, because I was listening today or yesterday to the Susie and the Banshees EP coming out on Strange Fruit, of the first session that they did for the programme, which was about a year, I think, or 9 months or so before they were signed to Polydor Records, as it was at the time. And it's quite nice. You think, well, actually, I mean, obviously they do the bulk of the work. You think if Walters and myself hadn't played the band so much and promoted them so much, perhaps they wouldn't have been able to go to Brazil in the first place, you know. So it's quite nice to think that you get on the programme, and Mary Kay, bluffing my way as always, in the rain. Reflections EP that I mentioned earlier on, and this is Mirage. Stood the test of time, this, I think. Susan and her Banshees, as I always call them, and I'm afraid I always call them that. Susie and the Banshees from Strange Fruit Records and the Peel session from, I don't have the exact date of it, before they were signed to Polydor anyway. And the tracks on there, that was Mirage, but the other tracks are Love in a Void, Metal Postcard, or Mittageissen if you'd rather, and Suburban Relapse. Horace Circuit.
Gobl, mae ddwy yn unrhyw un o gwbl yn gwneud casserole gyda'i gilydd, just casserole efeithiau. Sa'n pasio unrhyw barn, pal just a sgwrsio am yr hello, yeah, casserole, casserole. Sa'n pasio unrhyw barn, pal, just siarad am ei hello, yeah, a casserole, casserole. Ddarlithwyr cymdeithasig, efallai neu yn unrhyw beth o gwbl, yn gwneud casserole gyda'i gilydd, a casserole, casserole, casserole efeithiau. Sa'n pasio unrhyw barn, pal, just a sgwrsio am yr hello, yeah, casserole, casserole. Sa'n pasio unrhyw barn, pal, just siarad am ei hello, yeah, a casserole, casserole, hello, yeah, a casserole, 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 casserole. Ond dyma'r barn fy nghynffon pigog. Allan o'r gellid, allan o'r gwely, ar y teledu, lle mae rheolau hip newydd wedi cael ei ysgrifennu. Yr hello, yeah,
That Bluegie, and that's on Anhrevin Records from a 7-inch EP, and that's the track that I call Casserole. They call it rather more than casserole, but the other word, as I mentioned before, I simply can't pronounce. And a week or so ago, Shauna Hagan from the NME came to see me at Peel Acres, and I thought he was doing a whole piece about sort of like disc junk. It was about people who sort of, it says disc junkies actually here, but I mean people who are like record collectors or record accumulators. I always think of myself as more of an accumulator than a collector, I must say. And I was just going to have a few paragraphs stuck into the middle of a lengthy piece about other people, and it turns out to be rather more than that. In fact, 2 whole pages. The usual stuff, of course, me whining and moaning, not to be paid too much attention to. But there's a couple of pictures in there which you might quite enjoy, because if you look at them, as I have been doing here with something approaching this May, it looks as though I'm wearing a very badly made hairpiece. And this is, in fact, my real hair. And I think when your real hair starts to look like a badly made hairpiece, then indeed you're in serious trouble. What can I do apart from shave the whole lot off and just face facts? It does look quite ridiculous. Anyway, this is Mighty... Enough about me. No, there's never enough about me. Mighty Mighty and I Never Imagined.
One day so long ago in the shallow end, imagine the love, picked a girl, an imaginary girlfriend. In amongst the bric-a-brac, soppy present from a soppy past, must have been from a girl, she must have meant the world. It's not the same, it's not the same, I never imagined you, I'll never dream again. Was that really me without a friend, dreaming in the shallow end? Now I'm floating, I can't feel the ground, I may be drowned, I can't pretend anymore, there is no more. Never in my wildest dreams, my wettest dreams was this foreseen. It's not the same, it's not the same, I never imagined you, I'll never dream again. Imagine the love, picked a girl, she must have meant the world. It's not the same, it's not the same, I never imagined you, I'll never dream again. It's not the same, it's not the same, I never imagined you, I'll never dream again.
Mighty Mighty in session, and that's called I Never Imagined. And I just picked up a postcard from one Sid Piranha saying, because it's a picture of something vaguely European and ski connected, and he says, this isn't coming to you from the snowy slopes of Europa, but from groovy Ealing Broadway, London. Please play a request for my best mate, Hugh, who will be 25 on February the 5th. Shine, no, thanks a lot. Shine on, you crazy hipster. John the Wild One Peel, it's addressed to. I'd love to be a hooligan. I'd love to be in the Melody Maker week after week for causing trouble in clothes, but I'm afraid it's too late now. These are the Bloody Marys and Paris.
In my sleepless night, last night, didn't have time to tell you that I was falling in love with you. Could it be I found the girl who's gonna make me wanna tell you that I'm falling in love with you? Let me take you down to the bottom to see her. Let me take you down to the bottom to see her. Let me take you down to the bottom to see her. Paris is the
place to fall in love with you. Telephone. Didn't have the money to tell you that I was falling in love with you. Time is playing on my English heart. No matter what the future might bring you, I'll be sticking it out with you. Let me take you down to the bottom to see it. Let me take you down to the bottom to see it. Let me take you down to the bottom to see it. 'Cause Paris is the place to fall in love with you. Let me take you down to the bottom to see it. Let me take you down to the bottom to see it. 'Cause Paris is the place to fall in love with you. In my sleepless night, last night, I didn't have the time to tell you that I was falling in love with you. How could it be I found a girl? It's gonna make me wanna tell you that I've fallen in love with you. Let me take you down to the bottom to see it. Let me take you down to the bottom to see it. Let me take you down to the bottom to see it. 'Cause Paris is the place to fall in love. I said Paris is the place to fall in love. I said Paris is the place to fall in love with you. Don't say you're hot, not yet, but I'm warm. But are you down? You know I'm down. Let's create a storm, the storm, the storm. We're the creators of a storm. Feel the mighty blast, where the mountains rise high, the clouds pour fast. Is it the vengeance of the skies? No, we're the storm, the storm. It's like thunder, bang, crash, with the bump, the beat is thumping, ever pumping, and you just jump, just get up and dance. But as you dance, get warm, just chill. I know you will as we create a storm, the storm, the storm. The storm is not settled, just couldn't be quiet. The beat will make you dance, in fact, cause a riot. In the storm we get hot, and when you're hot, you sweat. We kick it live, forever live, and you say back. Double image has appeared. The chaos is born. Feel the heat rise higher, 'cause we're the storm. We rock the party like two on a raise, non-stop. Your body wiggles, then you jiggle, and we just rock. Unstable conditions as we rock the crowd. Yo, D, how do you like it? I like it loud. To the best of everyone, the changes we deliver. The eruptions on the surface causing you to shiver. In the upper inner cloud is where we chill. In a rotating column, in a storm we get ill. 'Cause it remains uncertain the way we rock. If any sucker try to diss, then we just knock him off of the mountain on which we stand. Without a wiggle, I will signal the L with my hand. The storm, the storm. You're in the storm with Jace, and you know why? Just chill the dark cloud, shine silver in the sky. And with D, the storm, I do insist. At my lair, I'm a slayer. It consists of myths. You cannot affect the storm, 'cause it's meant to be. The death rhymes we deliver. I'm Jace, I'm D. As it comes, I cannot warn. You hot, you are not warm. Just chill with at D. Aha, in the storm, the storm, the storm. which will conquer all. Storm makers of the sky, we're high above. I'll catch the power in my hand and back through the clouds. The green mist is the castle, it's where we chill. I will unleash the beast of the storm, it get ill. The uneven heating of the atmosphere, the death sound of double. Image is what you hear, it's just the force of two. For not any doubt, double image. We are deaf and deaf is what we about. The people coming inside, in fact this one, double image. Creators of a storm, storm. I'm easy chasing on the thunder. I'm like these cracks. Who is the beast? Who is the beast? Let's also bring it back. Since it's back, I am cracked. You know I don't lack the experience and talent for my credits. Not that high above on the tower is where I stand. JC just chillin', and D's my man. For you we perform. All the girlies they swarm. In the storm we transform. High high in the storm. The storm. The storm.
That record is huge in the dance hall of my heart. That's from Double Image, and it's called The Storm. Before that, incidentally, that was played tonight for The Man Who Went Back to Benidorm. And before that, The Bloody Marys on Mess Records, a record that's been around for some time and has been unplayed, I'm advised, and that was called Paris. The last from the Jesus and Mary chain, only did 3 for us. This is Fall.
Down
J-Mac, as they're known in our house. Actually, they're not at all, I've just made that up. The Jesus and Mary chain, and that's the last of them tonight, Fall. And now Parallel Universe fans, a track from an LP called From the House of Lords, which is a compilation of LPs of bands, all British, I think, or by and large British, none of which have really been heard of, and it's not by me, so it's one of those things where there's a lot going on about which one knows nothing. Bending the frontiers of music, the new exciting sound of the overground. The notes continue. This is on Bam Caruso Records, and it features the Sugar Battle, Ice Doves, Glass Keys, Black Atlas, The Attractions, you will have heard of them, of course, Sleep Eaters, The Time Machine, The Wedding, Paul Rowland, and The Fading Dream. Also The Doctor as well. The track I'm going to play you now, though, is by the Sugar Battle, who've apparently had 3 singles released, none of which I've ever heard, and I don't doubt they're all collector's items now. On Bam Caruso, as I say, this is Colliding Minds. That's Miles Davis and Chums from 1954, and it's called Take Off. Before that, the Sugar Battle from the LP, the compilation LP from the House of Lords, and Colliding Minds, no less. And the last tonight from Mighty Mighty in session, I'll Get You Back.
Once I had you for my home, one mistake and that was that I will regret to being left alone. I want my home back. I want my home back. I want my home back. I'll get you back. I'll get you back. Don't think you'll get away with it. I'll get you back. Don't think you'll get away. 'Cause I'll get you back. I never let you see me so low. You left me half a man. Finding crumbs of comfort in your letters, just something written in your hand. In your hands, I'm in your hands. I'll get you back, I'll get you back. Don't think you'll get away with it. I'll get you back, don't think you'll get away with it. 'Cause I'll get you back. When I see you talking with your friends, I'll be close by hanging around, waiting for this nightmare to end. When I see you put him down, put him down. Why don't you put him down? I'll get you back, I'll get you back. Don't think you'll get away with it. I'll get you back, don't think you'll get away with it. 'Cause I'll get you back. All the calls are overheard. He gave you a ring. I hang on every word. I'll swing for you. I'll swing for you. I'll swing for you. I'll get you back. I'll get you back. Don't think you'll get away with it. I'll get you back. Don't think you'll get away. 'Cause I'll get you back.
Don't forget, tomorrow night we've got Dub Sex, their debut session in the programme, and a repeat of the recent one from the Janitors. That was Mighty Mighty, and I'll Get You Back. And Big Flame from their EP Cubist Pop Manifesto. Love 'em to pieces. That's Big Flame, and Let's Rewrite the American Constitution. And a compilation LP, another one. This one's called Think Smart, Soul Stirrers, and it seems to have lots of titles, actually. Here's another one, Jerk It to the Party in Chinatown. Seems to be yet an alternative title. And on the back of it, information about the jerk, barefooting, rumba, stomper, groover, frug, shimmy, bossa nova, cha-cha, and the boogaloo. No useful, none of those little things where they put like footsteps down to show you how to do it, but nevertheless, Actually, it's not a guide at all, just words from things. But this is an opportunity to do the jerk, which you probably don't often get. This is from the Gypsies. I don't think you should take that too literally, dearly beloved. Those are the Gypsies, and I suppose it's perhaps all one title, as in Think Smart, Soul Steerers, Jerk It at the Party in Chinatown. It's on Kent Records, and that was called Jerk It. And to end tonight's programme, for my friend William, Micro Disney.
I must not do this thing. I'll wreck my social life. Then disinfect my chair and claim some uncivil rights. They'll say you son of a gun. All lovers pleading.
somewhat jollier programme tonight, I think. That's Micro Disney from the LP Crooked Mile. It's called Rack, hence tonight's programme, on which you heard sessions from the Jesus and Mary Chain and Mighty Mighty. Tomorrow night it's Dub Sex and the Janitors. Coming up shortly, the Midnight News Summary. Well, that's about it, really. Thanks very much for listening. Good night.
Radio 2.
The news at midnight. This is David Bellon. Mrs. Thatcher denies opposition claims that the government was involved in the special branch search of the BBC in Glasgow. The vicar in the Ealing rape case expresses dismay at the sentences. In Hertfordshire, 2 men are shot and wounded by police during an attempted raid on a gunsmith's. The government had a majority of 151 at the end of the emergency debate in the Commons on the special branch investigation into the BBC television series Secret Society. The Labour Party's spokesman, Mr. Gerald Kaufman, said national security was being used as a cloak for a political witch hunt. But Mrs. Thatcher and the Home Secretary, Mr. Douglas Hurd, denied that ministers had ordered the police searches at the BBC in Glasgow, at the offices of the New Statesman, and at the home of the journalist Mr. Duncan Campbell. Clashes on the issue began before the debate started, as our political correspondent, John Sargent, reports from Westminster.
The most heated exchanges took place at Prime Minister's questions. Indeed, it was the angriest clash between Mrs. Thatcher and Neil Kinnock for a long time. The Labour leader criticised the government for not acting earlier. It had been last July when Duncan Campbell alerted former senior civil servants involved in the television programme that he intended to publicise the secret satellite project. Mr. Kinnock also criticised the police raid itself, and in particular, the way material on all 6 programmes had been seized, not just the one relating to the satellite. The Prime Minister was determined to make clear that ministers had not interfered with the actions taken by the police.
The day governments could direct the police as to what they did or how they carried out their duties, that day the rule of law would die, and so would freedom with it.
Mr. Kinnock snapped back.
The Prime Minister is killing the rule of law in this country, and with it, the reputation of the police. Why didn't she stand up and admit that since she is the initiator of all of this action, nothing to do with national security, why isn't she big enough to admit she's trying to cover her own incompetence with this injustice?
Members of the National Union of Journalists are to be asked to strike for 2 hours as a protest against the special branch actions. The General Secretary, Mr. Harry Conroy, said it would coincide with the lobby of Parliament later this month. There's been a build-up of the United States fleet in the eastern Mediterranean as the hostage crisis in Lebanon intensifies. But the Pentagon says it's no more than a precautionary measure. 2 terrorist groups in Lebanon have said they'll kill their hostages if the Americans agree on military action. There's still no news about the Archbishop of Canterbury's envoy, Mr. Terry Waite. He's now been missing in Lebanon for more than 2 weeks. The woman who was raped by 2 men at Ealing Vicarage in West London has said she's shocked at the way in which the judge, in jailing the men for 8 and 10 years, seemed to treat rape and burglary as comparable crimes. And her dismay was echoed by the vicar, Prebendary Michael Sayward, who was battered with a cricket bat during the raid.
I think I and my family have been both shocked and in some respects appalled. We understand that the police, the phrase they used was amazed, and of course members of Parliament have been angry. I think we were shocked and appalled because it appeared to us that crime against the person was being put roughly in parallel to crime against property. And that has seemed to us a very disturbing feature.
The leader of the gang came up for sentence at the Old Bailey during the day and was jailed for 14 years for aggravated burglary and causing grievous bodily harm. 2 men have been shot by police in Hertfordshire during an attempted raid at a gun shop in the village of Park Street near St Albans. A 3rd man was arrested after a short chase. The injured men are in hospital. Doctors describe their condition as satisfactory. The American tractor and bulldozer manufacturers Caterpillar have confirmed they're closing their plant at Tannochside near Glasgow. The closure was announced last month, but after protests, the company promised to review the decision. More than 1,200 people will lose their jobs. 30 Spanish policemen and 6 youths were injured tonight as Spanish students protested outside the Parliament building in Madrid. 17 people were arrested as police made baton charges and used water cannon against the students, who were throwing stones and bottles. The students are demanding free access to university and other benefits. The Social Services Secretary, Mr. Norman Fowler, has announced there's to be an international conference on AIDS in London next month. He gave the news as he toured Britain's first purpose-built AIDS ward at the Middlesex Hospital in London. And the weather: southern and central parts of England and Wales will have overnight fog patches, clearing during the day. Other areas will have clear periods, with rain gradually spreading over Scotland and Northern Ireland. And that's the news at 5 minutes past midnight.
Radio 2, Brian Matthew.
Hello, welcome back to Round Midnight. It's our review hour with Peter Clayton and albums, Philip Bergson and films. And this is my Manhattan Transfer.